Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. Good morning, everyone. And this is the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Eyitayo, and it's such a pleasure to be here once again. And today is the 18th of October 2021. And we're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa, to Africa, and the entire world. On the Good Morning Education Show, you get to experience exceptional conversation from insight, exposure, and expertise of our analysts, our guests, our contributors, our tribe members, and it just keeps getting better. And I'd like to tell you that the Good Morning Education Show, your favorite show, is now streaming Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturday, and Sunday. All through the week, you catch us there. Mondays to Fridays, it's 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And on Saturday, we begin the weekend special. The weekend special is starting on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And on Sunday, we drive it down to the evenings, which is 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. West African time. And I want you to understand, you need to subscribe to our channel, like our channel, like our videos, share our videos, tell someone about the Good Morning Education Show. We always have a great time on the show. In fact, we have a special saying on the show that says, it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. Without wasting much time, I'm going to bring up a very wonderful person, a special analyst and guest in the house. We call her the Great. She's also known with many names. She's the founding magnet. She's Professor Tola. She's also known as the Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. Professor Omotola the Great. Morning, Omotola. How are you today?
Good morning, I'm great.
Whoa!
And you?
Wonderful, wonderful. She's breaking the record. Oh my. If you've been looking
Good
for the
morning.
face behind the voice, today is a special day. This is the day the Lord has made, and we definitely rejoice to be at it. Welcome, 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 welcome. So take over, take over. It's your show now. Take over.
No, good morning, everyone. Good morning, tribe members. Good to be here. Welcome to another new week, and it's going to be wonderful and great.
So how does it feel like showing your face today?
It's good. It's good. I had to wake up a bit earlier because it's 2 a.m. technically where I am. So, yeah, but it's
Wow.
fine. I'm happy to do it.
Thank
So,
you
I
for
think
the
I want to do this
sacrifice.
more regularly. So, we'll see how it goes.
Wow. All right. So we're starting with the headlines. I want you to take the headlines and let's start the analysis. For showing your face, you're anchoring today.
Headline, the first headline for today says that Varsity to get 30 billion naira revitalization fund soon, FG. So, what are your thoughts, Mr. Rotimi?
Well, I think that it's not going to be out of place to say that this year seems like the year of the universities or varsities as it were. They've successfully been in the news consistently. There's no month we don't have news about them. There was a time it was predominantly about strike, then it was about scandal, then it was about exam entrance and enrollment, and now it had to do with appointment of VC, validation of political appointees. Then we had the issue of lecturers being checked in terms of scandals as well. And now we came into the issue of funding. So first is to get 30 billion revitalization fund. It's a very big news, I must say. I think that welcome development for the public varsities in particular, because predominantly the issues behind strike is pretty much funds, um, and I believe that if this can actually be nipped in the bud, we might see the beginning of the end of strikes. That's what I say, and that's what I feel. Well, I don't know what about you.
Yes, I believe it's a wonderful development, but at the same time, it's going to be funny because our next headline is counteracting this, which says that Ondo poly worker down, and they're going on an indefinite strike because the federal government has been owing them over 11 months of salary. So to link both, I'll say that yes, the 30 billion is great, but I wonder what percentage of that budget goes towards paying people who've already done their job. And so that will be interesting. But I hope that they deliver on the promise because it's not enough to just promise. We want to see it happen. And so I really hope that it happens and it's not just all words and no action and no real thing behind it. But yes, it's a good thing. So moving on to our next headline, it says that Ondo poly workers down to begin indefinite strike. The reason for this is because apparently between 2016, 2017, and 2021, they are owing the staff member over 11 months of pay. And I can't even imagine what that looks like to work and they expect you to show up for work, to pay for your own transportation, to feed yourself, to develop yourself in quotes and not be paid your worth. And so I think they have the right, and I know the right strike is the go-to way. And I wonder we can do better in 2022. But for right now, it seems like the logical and the most, the only two they have to ask for their right in terms of the 11 months of salary that they don't have. So what do you think, Mr. Rotimi?
Well, polytechnic and polytechnic workers, I think sometimes they observe and also follow body language. So most of the time you see that once ASU sets up an agenda, once ASU has had their way, it's like ASU, that's the Polytechnic Association, kicks in. And I think there's a neglect, probably because of this nomenclature thing or this subtle comparison as which is best, which is important, which is current, all those things are factors. So I think that in the short term and in the long run, these people have to also show that they matter. They are an institution regardless. And one thing we need to recognize is that we need to start recognizing entities. In law, something that is incorporated is considered an entity. It's considered like a living being. So we need to recognize that it's an abuse and neglect to set up an enterprise or an institution, an organ of state, and you do not cater for the requirements of it to be alive. So we need to understand that it's expected for us to take decisions that are forthwith, lasting decisions that sort out if we are going forward or we are not going forward. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So if you have funding issues, can we trash these funding issues in such a manner that it doesn't necessarily have to prolong? And there are creative ways where government begins to turn its own business, permit me to use the word business, into a model that the business world can create a vehicle to run successfully, even as a state apparatus. Because some people have said it, and I believe that statement that government has no business being in business, right? Whether the business is mainstream profit making or the business is actually altruistic in nature. So, if you are running a polytechnic and you are running it as an NGO, then you must set into infrastructure the dynamics of the NGO. Do you get my point? I think that administration wise, we are having a gap in management. So what is happening now is mismanagement of these institutions. So yes, funding most times becomes the regular mantra, but I think it's the root cause. Because if you throw money at these institutions, Omotola, guess what? We might still end up having issues. We might still end up experiencing difficulties. We might still end up with some negative headlines. So I think that if we want to be really, really, really ready to take on this thing headlong, we should address running institutions from a management perspective. and then audit the management model of our public universities, federal universities, state-owned universities, and score that management either from the executive arm, the political will, or the instrumentality of the operational arm of that institution, you will discover that a lot of times, the institution's nosedives based on the mismanagement of it, not just inavailability of funding.
Thank you for that in-depth assessment. I think that is effectively a great way to sum it up. And yes, I really hope that things start to change in that regard. So moving on to our next and interesting headline, it says that court orders Covenant University to pay ex staff 10.3 million as damages terminal benefits. And so according to this headline, there was an issue where a staff member who was the director of the University Counselor Center was terminated, saying that his service was no longer needed, and then he was demoted or like transferred to the Department of Psychology. But for him, he felt like the way that they went about the termination was not appropriate. And according to his employment contract, he was supposed to be the director. And so apparently he decided he was going to take it to the legal court to fight for his right. And now the court is granting in his favor. And now the university has to pay 10.3 million with immediate effect. That is within 30 days. That's what they said the immediate effect means. And so I think for me, this is the case of being clear about your contract. And because I'm sure, like, if, like, according to the university, they felt like, oh, he was old, they were 60 years old, and they didn't think the service was needed because he was about to retire. But I know that in Nigeria, the retirement age is like 65, like, I believe, except things have changed. So this is a great case. If you are a school administrator, if you're a business owner, to be very clear about your contract that you're making so that you are not held at fault. So, Mr. Rotimi, what are your thoughts on this?
The smile and the grin on your face is like you want to set me up. Well, you see, I've not really followed the case, so I'm just going to follow what you've read on a surface level. But I know that, when courts issues orders, we also must be mindful of the fact that these things can be appealed, substantiating the fact that the organization in question is a university, and if they've been taken to court, um, if they've been taken to court, it might as well still be, how do I put it now? It might as well still be something we need to watch as it unfolds, because for some people, they know they might not win eventually, but they just want to make a case. And in making a case, they've made a statement. So it's actually a win for professionalism. Whether the man gets the money or not, whether the money is reduced or the case is trashed, is a win for professionalism. It doesn't mean the school is bad. Neither does it mean the individual is bad. This is just a contractual issue, like you said. And it just tells us that where we've applied sentiment, where we've not been thorough, this is a call to being thorough, a call to being professional. In some cases, there are people that understand the loopholes in systems and organization. And guess what they do? They take advantage of it. You might feel bad. You might feel, well, the staff shouldn't have done that. We were even helping him. But the truth is, loopholes are loopholes. And when it comes to such situations, sentiments don't hold water. So, like you said, it's just a call, because this will be a reference case. Some people now become emboldened to begin to do something, to begin to pursue the fact. So lecturers and educators and professionals might begin to tidy up their end of their contract, which also doesn't leave out the employers, because they say twice once beaten, twice twice shy. So I don't think an institution like Covenant University, if they let this slide, then the people behind are going to have it, because then there might be a revisitation of what they call contractual agreement with their workers, so that nobody nobody puts there, because 10 million, if they really pay that money, I'm telling you, some people will begin to test boundaries. Theirs might be 2 million, that might be,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely. Because this sets a precedence now. Because according to like laws, I watch a lot of legal
yeah,
whatever shows, and
it's
they
a
say like, oh,
reference point.
according to V versus
It will
V
be
in
C
year
versus a
2020 something.
hey.
Yes.
You got it.
So
You got
yeah.
it. You
So
got
I think on
it.
both sides there there's opportunity to really for the employers to strengthen their contract and know that okay, let their yes be yes and their no be no. And from the employee side to know that okay, wait, I actually have rights. The law can actually side with me. So there is a lot of different potential on both ends for sure. But yes, thank you for your yeah, and like you said, it doesn't mean the school is bad. It doesn't mean that because they couldn't find any wrong doing on the side of the employee. So his record were clean and he did everything, and so it was not he broke anything. And so that I think that was what made it easier for the law to side with him regarding that. So yeah, but interesting days ahead for sure.
Uh, okay, so we will move straight to the conversation of the day, and that is
Deal
the
with
conversation of the
difficult
day.
people.
Exactly. So
Definitely.
over to you. Give us a good intro.
Yeah, awesome. I think this is a very great topic because the truth of the matter is we will have this kind of people in different approach. It doesn't even mean in your place of work. It can even be on the road, in the bus, in the train, wherever you are on the plane. I know that even planes, airplanes, what do you call it, airlines, they have no fly list of people and it's growing every day. Like recently I saw and a news that said Delta was trying to get every other airline to share the list of their no-fly people with them so that other airlines will know and they can ban them because they are just difficult to do. And so their own option is we don't want to deal with this. So don't fly. You cannot fly on our airline. No matter the money you pay, keep your money. Your trouble is more than what is worth. But I don't think that's the long-term strategy to have. So I think it's great that we're having this conversation. And I will start with a story that I heard on the news 2 days ago. So apparently a new family moved into an apartment complex. So like a house, but with other people. Think of like Face Me and Face You, where there are like 10 rooms and like five families. So apparently these children, they are not used to. They're like, she has four children under 7 years old. And in this area, they were like older people. They were used to the quiet, and these kids used to make so much noise and so much noise. And so one of the later, the neighbors got angry one day and wrote a letter to the people in the apartment saying that please keep your noise down. This is too much and everything. So you know that most people, if they get it, you take it personal and want to get angry. But I love the way the mother responded. So she saw the letter, so she turned it around and wrote, "I'm so sorry, it has been a difficult year. These kids are not used to living in a place like this. Please." And she now bought a flower and sent it to the person with that note. And guess what? When the person saw that, she responded by baking homemade cookies and say, "Don't worry, you're going to adjust together." And that was such a wonderful way to sort of like put down the tension and not escalate things because this can have created like difficulty on both sides, right? And now they're able to figure out a way to live in harmony. And so as it relates to the topic for today about dealing with difficult people. Sometimes in our life, in the workplace, in the environment, at the gym, at the grocery store, in the market, you're going to have people who really test our patience, who test the level of what we believe is right or wrong. How we respond matter. Are you reacting or responding? Because there's a difference between reacting and responding. When you react, you're losing control. You're giving control to the other person. And that's when it escalates to even getting worse. But when you respond, you are still in control. And I think that was how it happened that the woman who had the kids that were really and making noise, she responded instead of reacted, because she could have said, well, I paid my rent, it's within our house, you should not send this note to me. But instead, she sent a great note back and a flower to say, sorry, we're making an adjustment, we'll work on it. And that really calmed things down and it didn't create enemy between neighbors. And so, with that said, I'll let Mr. Rotimi also add his wisdom to this.
All right. So, I love the way you've been able to also make it so practical, because dealing with difficult people, let's have it as a matter of fact. We will encounter this. And there are two sides to it. Number one, in dealing with difficult people, you need to understand the side of the difficult person, perceived difficult person. You need to understand your side, right? Because it's sometimes easy for us to look at the individual in question and say this person is being difficult. And when we look at it overall, we start noticing the gaps in our own responses and behavior. And you now find out that you yourself, you've not been able to show some measure of improvement and development, because we need to know that people will be difficult, either because of occurrence of events, emotional leakages, personal default. That's personality default. So it's not everybody that is, how do I put it now, not being reasonable. You know how we put it. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of people leak too quickly in their emotions. Emotional leakage is number one cause of difficulty with personalities. Why? Because when they don't see eye to eye, when there's a pitch difference or there's a bit of disappointment, you begin to notice that they begin to heighten emotional expression. And they need to have the upper hand for them to have stability. Now, once there's friction in form of debate, in form of ridicule, in form of disagreement, or there is acute disappointment, guess what happens? Such people begin to break out. It's either they have their way or no way. It's either they come crashing with the reality that they've been made a fool, whereas it's actually a perception of themselves. Because when you have over bloated ego, when you have blind spots, or you are not even aware of the divide you are standing on, you sometimes will come down as a difficult person. And so from time to time, people need to understand that, yes, there are people who will be difficult on some matters, but we must recognize, are we the lesser in the equation, right? If you are the lesser in the equation, your approach has to be different. If you are the greater in the equation, of course, imagine Professor Omotola the Great talking to a student. In that equation, Professor Omotola is the greater, the student is the lesser. There's certain things that Professor Omotola can actually do to put situations in check. But when Professor Omotola is the student and she's talking to someone greater, there are certain things that you cannot totally take on. This issue of it's my right, I don't feel I should, yes, let me give an example. Everybody's deserving of respect, regardless of your position, regardless of your nomenclature, regardless of your educational background, regardless of your race. Everyone is deserving of respect. However, there is contextual reference to that, which simply means if you look at the setting and the scenario, you have the president of the country, and then you want to ask a question, and the president says, that's all I'm going to be able to take. You now say, well, I'm a citizen, I have the right to express myself. They say that's all, and I say that's very wrong of you, Mr. President. You're not You see, at such point in time, you are being unwise. The context requires that you understand that decorum shifts to protocol. It's not a playground. It's not a level playing field. You need to get it. It's not a level playing field. It's just like saying, why do we need to stand? If they say we need to stand for the national anthem, why do all we need to stand? You see, protocol always suspends some things. And so at such point, people need to understand that in dealing with difficult people, right, there must be that understanding. What position of the divide are you? What context is the reality that we are dealing with? I feel that so that others can talk. I feel that's the beginning of analyzing that. Welcome, Titi.
Thank you. Yes, welcome, Mr. Olemide. And thank you, Mr. Rotimi, for laying the ground for this. I think you definitely gave us a great like example to go. And I love what you said about decorum shift to protocol. It's definitely appropriate. And I'll give them my example, then I'll let Titi and Mr. Olemide to also chip in. So like as a professor, like almost every day I have to deal with difficult students in court because no matter what you do in terms of giving them the syllabus, giving them the rubric for each assignment and explain everything. Some people will still tell you that you did not do it and then they'll come with this entitled sense of like, you didn't do this. How do you expect me to do this? And then I'll just smile and say, you know what, there, so, please go to this place. This is where it is. And then it calms things down. Before you know it, they start apologizing. I'm so sorry. I didn't read it. But I could have gotten also angry and say, well, it's not my job and responsibility. We cannot read. And that will have escalated things, right? But making that, like you said, not using emotion. Because sometimes like it can be frustrating when I'm like, I did my job. I gave you everything you need. And then you're attacking me, but not it as an attack. You say, you know what? I don't know what is going on in their life. There is a life outside of the university and the academic world. So giving that grace and remember that I don't know what is going on with them. So I'm not going to take it as an insult. I'm not going to take it personal. I'm going to choose to, like you said, use decorum, use this idea of like professionalism to say, you know what, I'm sorry you didn't find it, but this is where it is and it's still there. Please check back. If it's not there, let me know and I'll figure it out. And then that way things are resolved easily. So with that said, like welcome, Titi, welcome, Mr. Olumide. I would like Mr. Olumide to get started. Today we're talking about dealing with difficult people. So will you share some of your insight and wisdom in terms of how have you been able to deal with difficult people, maybe their friends, family, or even colleagues, or even employers or employees as you continue on your journey in this world?
Thank you very much, Dr. Motola. Good morning. Rotimi, good morning. Titi, good morning. It's a lovely topic we are dealing with this morning, and I wish we bring this type of topic on board almost every two weeks. We cannot rule out the fact that we're dealing with difficult people. COVID had come and is still somehow around. We must also realize that people's mental health have been depleted. If you look at it from the aspect of mental health, it will help you to sympathize with the people you are dealing with. For me as a person, I try to be at my best part-time. Then dealing with people, I profile people a lot. And one of the things I've always realized is that if you have problem dealing with me, you probably have problem dealing with everybody, because I will endure you so much. Of course, I will only allow you to trample on me. Now, at times people are ignorant. Unfortunately, they don't know that they are ignorant. My philosophy is that when you are engaging somebody who is not at the same intellectual level as you are, and you are making a mountain out of that discussion, you are wasting your intellectual resources. There are people you don't engage because they don't know better. Fine, you can put them through this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. Imagine you are on the road and a conductor just finished drinking shepe. And you're asking the man, give me my change. If you hear me talk in the bus, after telling the conductor, can I have my change? I may not mention it until I'm about to alight. I'll only be sure that I don't forget my change in his hand. So in that kind of a situation, and you begin to rant, what are you doing? This is the third time I'm asking you about my change. Sorry, you are wasting your energy. Because of the mental state of the man. He can't reason like you. And of course, it's not everybody you see on the street that is normal. Even in the place of work. Like Dr. Motla just said, some people are having backlog from home. Somebody is looking for who to transfer aggression on. I don't know whether you have heard me say it before. I went to the bank and because it was past 4, and normally, despite the fact that I have the privilege by the virtue of my position, if there are 1,000 people at the door, once I get there, they will pave way and allow me to enter. My role demands that, but I won't do it. I will just get there, greet all of them, then I will stand, I'll be looking. So this day, it was past 4. I know they've given them instruction that once it's 4, don't allow anybody to come, but my case is different. So I respected that. I just looked at him. I said, "Hello, sir. Can you help me tell the teller that I'm outside? Or just tell her somebody is waiting for her outside." So the man entered into the banking, or he didn't do what I asked him. So I had to knock on the security door just to get their attention. By the time he came back, he started shouting. I was looking at him. I said, I wasn't trying to enter the hall. I know I've tried to abide. While we're saying that, the branch manager came. The branch manager said, Mr. Olumide, sorry. He said, see, you don't know this man. Then he kept quiet. So the man tried to make case for him and says, Mr. Olumide, sorry. He's a new person here. He doesn't know you, but I know the man knows me. I kept quiet. Because when the branch manager will come to my office and almost be prostrating for account, this security man will not be there. You are here to spoil show for the man. So the man needed to talk to him. So what I did after leaving the place, I came back. The next time I came back, I look at all the security man. How are you? I greeted them, gave them money. Not because they did me anything. It's just my own way of appreciating the little they are doing. I now asked for this particular man. I learned he was not on duty that day. So I gave one of them money. I said, please, this one is for the man. No, make sure you give this money to him that I came. I checked on him and look at him. That was the end of the rancor. The next time the man saw me, almost prostrated. He said, people like you are very rare. Even though, like Rotimi said, on the equation, I am higher. But I needed to preserve his humanity. I wouldn't need to trample on him. And too wrong does not make a right. I will tell you what you have done is wrong, then show you the right thing to do. It could be student, it could be colleague. There are at times people who say all kinds of things. A colleague, sorry for taking that, a colleague followed me to the bank because his money was not paid. By the time I took him to the banking, or he started making noise, I didn't talk to the teller. I just faced him. I said, see, you're a disappointment. I didn't bring you here to come and make noise. By the way, do you even know whether your account has problem? Why are you shouting on the young man that your money, how much is even your money? He kept silent. By the time they checked his account, it was his account that had problem. He felt so embarrassed, and I added to his embarrassment. Since that day, he called me professor because the way I handled him. We are here to solve issue. I got to the banking hall. The onus is on me to help you out. Not that you come here and be constituting nuisance and be making noise. If you knew you wanted to make noise, you shouldn't have followed me here. I would have allowed you to go and make your noise. I don't do things like that. And we're able to resolve it. I believe in a win-win situation because we can always meet again in life. Even though I will tell you this is what I want, I won't tolerate this or tolerate that. I will always preserve your humanity so that when next we see, we will greet. No matter whether you're a trader or you're a professional or you're a driver or you're a conductor, next time we meet, you always remember me that, oh, thank God for this man. He didn't pay me back in my own coin. And it's not everybody that is normal. We should have that at the back of our mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Olumide. That was so rich and enlightening, and I love the way that we're making this practical and so real and sharing those real life experience. And I love what you said about yes, not everybody is normal, and that does not mean that it's bad. It's just the fact of thing. And I love what you got about the mental health piece because more than ever, I think with COVID-19 and everything that has been going on in our world, we cannot run away from that. And I know in like African countries we don't really care about mental health before, but now I think there's been rises in that, and I hope we can see more of that as we go forward. Another thing I really love about your story is about this idea of like there's this thing that they call the golden rule, where it says that you must treat people as you want to be treated. But actually, there's now a new rule that says the platinum rule, which is treat people as they ought to be treated, not how you want to be treated. Because if we use our own lens, we'll miss out on so many other things. So I love what you did by still showing them humanity. Yes, they did you wrong. Yes, they were angry, they were treating you in the wrong way, but you still gave them something to say, you know what, I choose to treat you differently than like you ought to be treated. And so yes, don't just practice the golden rule, practice the platinum rule in like treat people as they ought to be treated, not as you want to be treated. Like that is better than yourself in a way in that regard as well. So thank you so much for your contribution. And now I'll let Titi, who it has been a while that I've had your wonderful sing-song voice. So please tell us about your experience and give us some word of wisdom.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tani. Good morning, everyone. Honestly, dealing with difficult people, I don't know that we even deal with more difficult people at this end of our of the world than anything else. But I want to take it from you as a subordinate. So to all the teachers listening out there, there's no guarantee you will have a fantastic boss, and I think it's best to prepare your mind to have a difficult boss or have a difficult supervisor or whatever it is. Personally, for me, what I've found about what we term as difficult people is that you need to know that person. You need to understand the psychic of that person. That's what we call emotional intelligence. So I'll give you an example. I once had a boss that could get very irritated. I used to wonder why he used to get irritated. Then I found out what it is. He's a very punctual person. So if he tells you let's have a meeting at 8, he most likely is in the office by 7. So when someone is in the office by 7 and you're meant to have a meeting by 8, and then you come in 8:05, the person's head is hot. So everything you're saying and doing, the person is so irritated because the person was already irritated. So I found that once is this particular guy that we're having a meeting with, I'm always like 10 minutes early. And I found that just solved it. It's the same thing when you go and you go to a new school or you go to a client, and the role that you have taken or the job that you're doing is that person's role, or that person thought she was going to get it. So of course, the person is going to be difficult, and you're now meant to collect all the information and materials you need from the person. The person is going to be difficult, So one of the things that I've realized is that you always need to kind of understand the backstory. People then ask me, how come we can work with anybody? I say, because I will go and look and say, what is this person's issue? You go and work with someone that likes to say, yes, ma, yes, ma. Then you come and say, oh, hello, Tola. The woman in her heart is throwing you daggers. I say, oh, Tola, the head of school said that she's, and she's looking at you. This girl is 30-something. Me, I'm 50. She doesn't have respect. And then you just find out that your dealings with her are difficult. But the moment you can, do, good afternoon, ma. You say, okay, this is the thing that makes this woman happy. So I want to come from that position and say it's important we, gain what I would call emotional intelligence and try to understand the backstory of a lot of people. I found that when you do, 3/4 of the time, a lot of the issues are resolved. Someone's you have a teacher that maybe invited everybody for something, you did not show because you are busy. You find out that when it's time, when you're coming to meet her, she will be difficult. So I think it's important that when we deal with people, we always try to understand their little nuances. It helps us in dealing with the person. It's the same thing when you're dealing with government people and you realize that men, they are very they're very much into hierarchy. So if you want something, you've also not planned their boss along the the line of chain, they will be difficult to you. Or you just go in and just go straight into their boss, not realizing that there are other people in the room that you need to, they will be difficult. So I think it's important that we always, as subordinates, reporting to one person or the other, or dealing with other people, let's learn, use emotional intelligence. So that's the angle I would just say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Titi. And I love the way that you said it. And yes, I love the issue about gatekeepers. We have them everywhere. irrespective. Like think of like even the example that Mr. Olumide gave about the bank. Those gatemen, they're literally the gatekeeper. But like you said, in like other like government places and even other, the executive director, the executive assistant, the secretary, the program manager, these can be gatekeepers. And if you don't treat them right, I would think that, oh, this person does not matter. I need to override them to go to the person I came to see. That can create difficulty and difficult situation. And I love what you said about emotional intelligence. And I wanted to add to that in terms of that's why it's so important for teams. I will encourage for you to understand each other's personality. Because even let's say beyond the issue of like hierarchy and things like that, the truth is all of us, we don't communicate the same way. We don't see things the same way. We don't see our work the same thing. And so one of the personality one that I really recommend for people that have seen it done well is what they call the Dix personality by the John Maxwell team. And D stands for like dominant, I for like influencing or inspiring, S for steady, and I for compliant. And then it breaks it down so well. So when you understand this person is dominant, there is a way you can talk to them. There are some things you can say that will make the situation more palatable, not that it's going to like escalate it into something that is worse. And so once you understand, and I know it can be hard, but I think as a team, especially in a school setting, it's so critical because you guys are going to be working together for almost 8 hours every single day, like 5 days a week at least. You guys are going to have issues and challenges that will come up. And so it's really critical that you understand each other's personality and be able to give that kind of like grace and know, okay, this is the best way to communicate to this person when they are angry. And then I love something else, and I let Dr. Doreen also give her own comment about this acronym that I learned. I don't even know who said it. It's called HALT, HALT, and that's another thing I'll have to do is dealing with difficult people. Like HALT, when you are hungry, food. H is for the hungry. Or don't say what you think you want to say. A is for angry. When you're angry, or before you say something. L is for lonely. When you and T is for tired. Because sometimes when we have those kind like four emotions, I know that Mr. Rotimi talked about emotion and now you also mentioned emotion and things. But I think that is part of it. Sometimes we ourselves we have to check ourselves and say, wait, am I hungry? Am I hungry? Am I lonely or tired? Because I know even for my children, sometimes when one of those things is like really going on, the way I speak to them or how sharply I communicate can really create more difficult situation between me and them than before. So it's not just for even like place of work, even within our family members, we need to like think and practice those things. And say, wait, let me check myself, and then that way you can respond to people well. So with that said, I'll let Dr. Darren also have our own word of wisdom for dealing with difficult people and any experience I have had. Take it over. Dr. Dini, are you there? I can see your beautiful face, but you're not moving.
Hey everyone.
Good
morning, Dr. T.
Good morning.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Hear me right now.
Yes, we can.
Hey, good morning. So, one of the things I've noticed. Okay.
Can anyone hear her?
Not again.
Okay. I hope that you can come back soon. Yeah,
Hello.
I guess okay. Hello. Okay, we can hear you now. Go ahead. We can hear you now. We couldn't hear you at all.
Good. Okay, I said it's interesting that you came with that angle of HALT, and I'll just use a practical example. We should realize that we are not the same. And why I'll use a practical example is like we had a global mentorship conference on Saturday. And towards the end of that program, I received a message from one of the panelists. And she went on and on and on about how she was not able to get into her session, how she will never work with me again, we've tarnished her reputation. You know, this was about getting into an online session, right? As a panelist. You know, I saw it at that. We had not even like the event had not ended, right? We were still at the location. The event had not even ended. And I saw that thing. And I told myself, I said, Jerry, you of maybe 5 years ago would have responded that, like, I don't understand. I'm gathering people from all over the world. Mrs. Ibupawoshika was our keynote speaker, right? Like, and Mrs. A had technical challenges. She was not even in the country, but she came back. Like, she came back, and I remember her and Kemi Onabanjo had to fill up. And these are people like, I agree, everybody that invited as a panel, as a speaker, are like are big people, like are, you know, youths in their own respect. But Mrs. A was the only senior citizen there that probably would have challenges with technical, as in, is like, it's understandable if she has challenges with technical and is trying to navigate. But she was supposed to pick for 12. She came in, she had technical, she came in at like 12:20 and she still did 12:40. And she was still like, ah, Jerry, I'm so sorry for the technical this day. Because why? She understands the bigger picture. All of us here are just, we don't own tech, right? We don't own tech, no matter what you do. If you like have 3 backup for techs, you don't own tech. That is people, as in, those are people that we understand that, number one, what is the goal? What is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is the people we hope to serve. So irrespective of the discomfort it causes to us as humans, we are able to accommodate it and say so. But here is another panelist who is going on about how she was not able to log in, and she never, that we tarnished her reputation. She told everybody that we were going to do this, that our students, some of them did not receive emails, some of them that received emails did not get into the session. Now, this morning, that's what I was actually even doing before I joined. I was typing an email. You know what I did on Saturday? I ignored, like I read it and left it. Because I said, well, I said I would only reply the message when I'm not tired, because obviously on Saturday I was tired. When I'm not hungry, because obviously on Saturday I'm not even sure I ate. And I asked myself, the first reaction would be anger, that, are you kidding me? But then I said, you know what? I showed it to my communications person. I said, I'm going to let you reply this message because I need it to be a detached message and a rational message, right? And between Saturday and now, I've been able to come from a very, very logical angle. And I just finished typing an email before I joined this show. What I realized is people like that are thinking of maybe just themselves, how they wanted to get into the show. They invited their own student from maybe their university. They wanted to shine in front of their, like they wanted to show who they were. They wanted their students, like, so she was basically thinking about herself, right? Not the bigger picture. That is what I was able to realize. And I said, what was in it for her was the ego, right? Which is why she said she would never work with us because, like whatever. And I said, what was in it for was the ego. So, and I went to check our records. She didn't attend dry runs. So it meant most likely she didn't send us an email like on Friday night. I think we sent everybody because we realized some people might not even read their emails. We sent all of them WhatsApp broadcast. In the same session, she said she could not get in. Another panelist got in. Even if that session had challenges of a delay of tech, another panelist got in. The second session had no delay at all. They still didn't find her. So it means it's either she logged in with another name or she didn't watch the videos on how to log in at all. And she's going on and on. So even if all those things, I always say with difficult people, they don't see beyond their own immediate, will I say, whatever. They don't see beyond that. So one of the ways I've learned to deal with them is to first apologize, even if I'm apologizing for nothing, right? Then I break it down. I always say with people like that, you need to make them see their shortcomings, right? With evidence. So in me replying the email, I went to look at the records of the dry run. I didn't see her. I went to look at WhatsApp if she chatted up anybody. I didn't see her. I went to look at email if she chatted up anybody. I didn't see it. So you need to make them see their own lives so they can do better in the future. If you go on with all the anger and everything like that, they would have achieved what they hoped for, to anger you and also to justify that you are in the wrong. But if you are able to explain to them logically that, look, it is not me. it is you, and you need to improve on how you respond in the future. And I remember my closing paragraphs were this morning, like, please, you should look at the bigger picture. If you say you're not going to work with us again, all of us are working for the betterment of Africa. This is not about me. This is about Africa. So you need to actually reconsider, you need to make them see what you see. And that is the most important thing. They don't see what you see. So you need to make them see what you see. And there's no way you can do that shouting. I think that's one of the best ways to deal with difficult people as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you so much. And I really love this example that you gave, and it's so practical. And I actually wrote something down on my notes, and I said, you cannot be right at the top of your voice. And I learned that like some years ago, and that helps me. And like, this is for everybody, whether you're talking to a small child, whether you're talking to somebody that is old, you cannot be right at the top of your voice. If you, like you said in your own example, you replied immediately in the heat of things, and you didn't opt, it will have escalated into something else, and you will have proven her right, because you have matched her for her anger and things like that. But I'm so thankful that you use that your intuition to say, you know what, and then I love what you said about showing them the evidence of them being wrong, because it's so important and correct. Like, and I know something happened to me last semester where a student sent an email and wrote like a really bad review for me in the class. And honestly, at first I wanted to be angry, because it was even that period I was going through COVID-19 and everything and all of that. And then on top of everything she documented was not right. But I had to now do a 7-page. I took my time and did a 7-page and evidence, like snapshot. This is what you did not do. This was the date. This was the announcement that was sent by me, by my TA, my teaching assistant. This was the email that was sent. This is how I followed up. And so by the time I replied, she had nothing. The school could not find me at fault. But assuming I replied immediately and I didn't take that time to collect the evidence, it would be he said, she said, or she said, she said. But because I took my time, you know what, I'm not going to rise to this, because I was already like, I was just like, I'm not going. And that really made the difference. So I really love what you said. It's so cool and so wonderful that you said that, yes, show them, make sure they can do better. It's not just, you don't have to be a pacifier and say, I'm so, no, like, in a way, like, appeal to their ego, but still show them, okay, this is where we can all do better. And then I love what you said about thinking about the future. Who are we serving? What is the purpose? I think that's the ultimate thing, and hopefully that can help them to realize actually there's more to be done. This is not the end, and this is just the beginning of greater things in the future. And so I really love how the conversation has gone today, and I want to thank each and every one of our analysts, T, Olunde, Mr. Rotimi, Dr. Derin, for being here and showing up and really sharing from your heart and really being real with our tribe members. And to every tribe members that have joined us, Gideon, Kyle, and everyone else that are invisible, that are watching or will watch later, thank you for being part of the show. And before we round up, I would like us to get some parting shots from everyone. So we'll start with Mr. Rotimi, then Mr. Olumide, then Darren, and then how we'll sort of round up the show as well. So Mr. Rotimi, take it away. Your parting
All right,
shot.
thank you very much. I think that looking at all that we've said, a very critical element for us to have at the back of our minds is that we must regulate ourselves. That's just the truth, because this topic calls for self-regulation. And then one more thing, you need to understand that there is the rule that talks about the protecting your enterprise. Really, sometimes when people are difficult, there are times that you need to stand up to such people without being toxic. Especially when it has to protect goodwill or enterprise. We all know how investment of years can come crashing down without, because a lot of us misapply the understanding of managing people, being simple, being patient. It doesn't mean to be without intelligence. It doesn't mean to be docile. It doesn't mean to be non-assertive. The most important thing is sometimes we need to stand up for the organization, stand up for your employees or your people without being toxic, and so that you can protect the enterprise. As outside that, you must make sure that you have the golden rule at heart. Treat others as you want others to treat you. And when we do that, we're going to be better for it, all of us at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rotimi. Yes, yes to self-regulation. Mr. Limide, take it away.
Thank you very much. I think Rotimi has brought up an issue to balance the equation. Yes, so that we don't just make it a one-sided thing and allow people doing wrong to continue to be doing wrong. As much as you don't want to enter into any sort of open confrontation with anybody, however, ability to bring the fault or the mistake of the person to bear and let the person know that no, things shouldn't be done this way goes a long way. For me, I will want to anchor on the issue of emotional intelligence that Titi spoke about, and I've always said it, humility never loses any battle. Yes, at times we stoop so that we can conquer. And when we realize that also we should learn to also make excuses for people. You want to say, oh, maybe the person wasn't feeling fine. He woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, or the person had a terrible disagreement with his spouse and whatever. Also, the person was put on the spot. Maybe the superior is firing the person and the person is also transferring the it down. So when we do that, it will help us as individuals, as employees, not to take whatever is being done in the wrong light so that it doesn't affect the way we also relax. Self-awareness matters a lot. Ability to manage oneself, then ability to manage whoever you are dealing with at the end of the day so that things doesn't get out of hand and we don't set the organization on fire because politics can ensue. There could be camps, there could be cliques, there could be cabal. And along the line, some may not even though you are doing the right thing, they won't forgive. And they are waiting for you in the future when to pay you back. So as much as possible, we should learn to make friends and not enemies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Limide and Dr. Derry.
Well, my parting shots would be you should realize that humans are not the same. And you should realize that where you are going is far. And when you constantly have, you are in awareness that where you are going is far, then you always ask yourself, the destination I'm aiming for, how will that person, how will such a leader react to a situation? I think when we are in that awareness of if I was a United Nations president, can I be caught reacting in such a way? Ask yourself, how will that person react? How will a leader react to this? Then it helps you to look beyond yourself and think of your future self and react in that manner, even if you are not there. I think the moment we are able to do that in every situation, we look beyond the person that is trying to get to us at that point or that is trying to make us be at our worst, and we handle it in the better way. If we are able to do that, because I always at the end of the day, he who is down fears no fall. So most of the time they stand to lose nothing. You stand to lose everything when you do certain things. So be aware of that and act accordingly.
Yes, thank you so much. I love that because it's true. People that are down, they don't have anything to lose. But yes, you're right. Respond instead of react is so key. And think of your future self. I love that as well. And then for me, I would say, as Michelle Obama said, when they go low, you go high. And yeah, and so that's how I will round it up. And then before we say our closing statements, I know for tribe members, I know that you are finding this valuable. So please tell a friend to tell a friend, like Mr. Rotimi says, about the Good Money Education Show. Share it with like schools, like both primary school, secondary school, university. It is for everybody. So please do not keep this good news to yourself and don't keep it. It's a best kept secret. We want more people to have access to this. We have amazing analysts and guests that comes on the show giving their time, their insight, their years of experience, and we want as many people to reach. Also, share the replay. We have it on YouTube, on Facebook, and please share it wide and fair, and let as many people have access to it as we go forward. With that saying, we're going to round off for today, but we're going to be back tomorrow, same time, same place, or whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube, we got you. And now, at the count of 1, 2, 3, we're going to round up with our favorite phrase for the day, which says, okay, 1, 2, 3.
It's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show.
So make it a wonderful day, everyone.
Bye.